Well, unless you've been hiding in your coronavirus bunker, you have probably heard that it is a red hot real estate market here in Arizona and cracked across the country. Houses selling very quickly, multiple offers. We had a house we listed the other day, got 57 offers in one weekend. It's like just craziness. So it's literally by measure of the Cromford Market Index, which measures heat, supply and demand. It's as hot as it's ever been. So a couple things I want to cover today. One is, how did it get this way? Like, how's this possible in the middle of a pandemic that it's literally hotter than ever? And is that a problem? And then second, how can you profit from it? What can you do in your circumstances to profit from this red hot real estate market we have right now? My name is John Glutch. I'm the team leader of the Glutch Group, and our team has sold thousands of houses. And it's our job to help you navigate the crazy waters of Arizona real estate. All right, so let's start off with just how hot is it? Like, is it really as hot as it's ever been? Yes, that's exactly what it is. Let's take a look at the chart here. So we've got our Cromford Market Index. That index measures supply and demand. How hot is a market? Anything above 100 is a seller's market. Anything below 100 is a buyer's market. So you can see here, this is just insane. I mean, take a look at this. We've got our 2019 chart. You could see, things were getting hot, but hadn't quite caught up with, like, you can see I put 2005 on there because we all know that was like the peak, right? That was the craziest it got. And, things were approaching what we see in 2005. 2020 getting closer and closer. You can see there in March, it was getting closer to what we saw in 2005. And then, of course, lockdown, craziness, everyone's terrified. We had a couple months of really slow activity, but then bam, like a cannon, we are off. Now we are literally at a 350 Cromford Market Index that is as high as it has ever been, ever. Like, in the history of the Cromford Index, it's never been this high. It's higher than 2005. So how is that possible? Like, what in the world is going on so that we can have this kind of a crazy market? So a couple things. First of all, a lot of people are wondering, why hasn't the shutdown and the resulting unemployment, like, what's going on? Why didn't that slow down demand for properties? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, a lot of the job loss that we experienced was not people who were buying homes. These are people in temporary jobs or who are in the service industry, these kind of things. Most of the jobs lost were in those industries, and those people, for the most part, weren't buying homes. Didn't really affect demand. Of course, it's very difficult for them, and their personal circumstances, obviously terrible, but it doesn't affect the housing market because they typically are renting properties. Demand is increasing as opposed to decreasing because, as you're all experiencing, we're home a lot more. And so people are looking around home going, is this where I want to be? Or do I need that extra bedroom for my home office? Do I want to move to the outskirts of town, get a little more land? Whatever it is, we're seeing lots and lots of demand from just people who are kind of wanting to make a change. So that's another reason that unemployment really hasn't hurt, is because we've seen demand increase. I get like 3 calls a week from people from California who are moving to Arizona, and they have their various reasons, whether it's politics or taxes or whatever, but that's becoming more and more common. And we're starting to see that too, where Arizona is a very friendly place for lots of different businesses and people in different tax brackets and things. And so we're starting to see demand increase for that reason as well. And then interest rates, as you're probably aware, are super low. Like, we're talking about like in the 2s. So having an interest rate so low really, really does incentivize people to get out of that rental, that apartment, whatever, that rental house, and buy a property. So while, of course, we are still seeing like record levels of unemployment, even now, it's not really affecting housing demand. And I don't think that's going to change. That's probably going to stick around for quite a while. Another question we get is regarding like, how come this is happening in the middle of this craziness, is, aren't there going to be a lot of foreclosures? Like, where are all the foreclosures? Well, they're probably not coming. So again, job losses have been experienced mostly by people who don't own homes. So that's not causing a lot of foreclosures. Now, they're renting homes from landlords, but those landlords who maybe they are not collecting as much rent, they bought years ago, potentially. They've got a lot of equity in the property. They could lower rent if they need to, or there's other people who are willing to pay the rent they need. They've got a lot of options, and chief among them, selling if they just need to sell the property. So they've got a lot of equity in their property, probably. So historically, we're at like record high levels of equity. So that's not causing any foreclosures on the buy or the owner side for landlords. So that hasn't really seen much of a challenge. And then we've seen tons of demand in general for homes in Arizona. So like lots and lots of people moving here. In fact, we're the third fastest growing state in the country. And so because of that, all this demand and the fact that there aren't really any foreclosures coming, more reasons why we're seeing like this crazy red hot market. And that's a big reason there's low supply. A, because people are coming to Arizona, but also B, there haven't been very many homes built. A lot of builders got scared, went out of business, whatever, in 2008. and just we're really slow to get back into the game of home building. Also, labor demand has gone up, and there's not as much supply of labor right now, so that's super challenging. It just slows the machine down of building homes. So you've got a scenario where there's lots of demand for all these reasons I explained, and very little supply because, if you can't find that new home you're excited about, or, you're looking around going, there's nothing really out there for me, you're just going to stay in your home. You're not going to list it for sale in an environment where you don't have a next place to go, and we might get, locked into our homes any day. So all of this kind of brew turns into a scenario where it's just a super hot seller's market. Supply is very low, demand is very high and getting higher. And so we've got this red hot market, even in the middle of the coronavirus. Okay, so what? Like, what does this matter to you? How can you profit? Everyone wants to know how they can win in the middle of a crazy scenario like this. Here is my very simple advice to what you should do because of the red hot market. Whatever you were already going to do. So if you were going to sell. If you were going to buy. If you were going to buy rental. Like, it's very hard to time markets. Who knows when this thing's going to slow down? In general, I've always told people, let your life be the dictator of what you're going to do in terms of housing. That being said, let me give you through a couple scenarios. So if you were going to buy, I wouldn't wait to buy because interest rates are crazy good right now. Prices are going up at record paces, right? We're seeing like 10% appreciation. So a year from now, that house you want is likely going to cost 10% more than it does today. And interest rates could very likely be higher. So if you were going to buy a house, you're excited to buy a house, go buy a house, right? Like, this is a good time to own a property that you're excited to live in. If you're going to sell and move up to a bigger, more expensive property, that I would do as soon as possible. Because if you're buying a more expensive home, yes, your house is appreciating in value, but that more expensive home is too, and that house costs more. So every day you haven't done this, you're losing. So if you're moving up, I would for sure do that sooner than later. If you're moving down, like downsizing, and you're not in a hurry, then I would wait because your big expensive house is appreciating very quickly. And if you're going to buy a cheaper house, it's also appreciating, but not as quickly, likely, as your more expensive home. So downsizing would be a scenario where potentially you could wait and kind of try to time out the market a little bit. And then if you were thinking about investing, like buying a rental property, I think could still do that, right? Like, Arizona's still very affordable, interest rates are still very good, and the rental market is just as hot. The fact that all these people are moving to Arizona means they're either renting or buying a house. And since we're not building very many more of them, the demand for homes is increasing both on the rental side and on the purchase side. So buying a rental property, if you've got the funds to do that and the desire to do it, still a great idea. The numbers still look good, and I still think that's a good idea. So and then last scenario is like, if you weren't planning on doing anything, like you're just living in the house that you own and you're stoked about that, just hang tight, enjoy the house, be thankful that you own it, and count the money, right? Like, a year from now, your house will be worth another 10% more than it's worth today. That's super exciting. And then when you are ready to buy, move on to the next thing, whatever it is, sell, go somewhere else, you're going to have even more equity. So just thank your lucky stars, enjoy the ride. So hopefully that helps, gives you a quick little scenario of why we are where we are in the middle of this craziness and what you can do to make sure that you profit most from this hot market. So if you need any help, want to know how you can get into that next property, how you can sell your property, what it's worth today, let me know. We'd be happy to help you out. Just reach out, shoot us a message, or give us a call, 480-378-6700. Thanks so much. Have a great day.